Metallica is one of the greatest metal bands to ever walk the earth. They are the most successful and best-selling metal band, even outselling and outplaying legendary giants such as Iron Maiden or Judas Priest. They are the kings of thrash metal and arguably the most important and influential band within the thrash metal genre. They are still going strong, but their greatest and most important era was the 80s, because 80s Metallica was on a whole nother level, thrashing and causing hell on earth like no other band. The 80s had a lot of great music, but the rock and roll and metal genres especially were booming, and I call it the height of rock and roll. When Metallica arrived at the scene, no one expected them to become as big as they did and influence the genre as much, not to mention create an entire new subgenre. They were wild, constantly causing chaos, drinking more than they could handle, and playing like wild demons. As much as I personally dislike most of the stuff that Metallica put out after And Justice for All, I have to give them credit for the fact that they always are experimenting with genres and sounds. Most of their albums sound unique and distinct from each other, and you can hear the evolution of their sound or the change of it in every album. Some bands manage to keep their sanity by always playing the same type of music for decades, but it's great to see that Metallica has always made an effort to evolve, and that's exactly why they ended up being the most successful metal band of all time. '80s Metallica managed to get so good and popular because they were trying to create something new, something mind-blowing and shocking. Kill 'Em All is one of the greatest metal albums of all time, and I'd honestly argue that it's even better than Ride the Lightning or Master of Puppets, even though I love both of those a lot. But Kill 'Em All has a certain raw sound that is different from anything else they have put out. This album, in my mind, is the beginning of thrash metal, the way we know it now. Obviously, thrash has roots that are older than Metallica, and there were other bands that influenced the genre a lot, such as Anthrax or Slayer, but none of those bands ever came close to Metallica in terms of lyrical quality, vocal range, or instrumentals. Listening to Kill 'Em All, you can also hear the strong Motorhead and new wave of British metal influences. Songs like The Phantom Lord sound almost like something that Motorhead could have played themselves, and it's amazing to see James put his own spin on the sound. It's interesting how Metallica's first demo, before it turned into Kill 'Em All, sounded closer to Judas Priest or Iron Maiden rather than what it ended up being. James Hetfield's voice was much higher, cleaner, and nowhere near as rough or iconic as it would later sound. To me, that's also what defines their original signature sound, which was all about simple but fast riffs. It's also one of those things that made them feel much more relatable. A lot of metal bands at the time, and even today, have the tendency to create overly complex songs that feel more like the band members are trying to show off rather than make something that will keep living rent-free in your head long after you heard it. Metallica made music that not only felt raw and sincere, their riffs were also something that wasn't too hard to learn. Anyone with a bit of practice could learn most of Kill 'Em All relatively fast, which is not necessarily something you can say about many other bands that have more solos than lyrics in their songs. Metallica as a band has always been in a realm and league of their own. When I think of thrash metal, especially 80s thrash, they are the first band that comes to mind and the first band that I'd rather be listening to. Other bands within the genre back then and even today think that thrash and metal, no matter which subgenre, are all about being heavy, constant solos and chugging those power chords. But that's not really what it's all about.
Let us have peace, let us have life.
As much as thrash was a reaction to hair metal, trying to be more serious and grounded, back in the 80s, thrash and hair metal had more in common than they'd admit, and I know that saying something like this will sound like heresy even today. But the truth of the matter is that Metallica back in the 80s was all about making innovative, original and experimental music. Their lyrics were definitely much more serious and mature than the average hair metal song, but they also never forgot how to have fun and didn't take themselves too seriously.
Yes. Drink? Yeah, do you have any tea?
Tea?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's good for the day after, morning after. Check that out.
Is coffee okay?
What?
Coffee okay?
Yeah. No, just get me a beer.
Metallica's live concerts were all about having fun and a good time. They wanted to make the earth shake and keep your head banging. This is something that the modern metal community struggles a lot with today. People get called posers just because they don't always want to write dark and depressing songs or because their outfits might not be metal enough. Ghost gets called posers because apparently looking like a death metal band but sounding like Black Sabbath or Deep Purple makes you a poser and not heavy metal, despite the fact that Deep Purple and Black Sabbath are the literal founding fathers of the genre. It's crazy because even back in the 80s, Metallica was being called posers by people within the community, especially after they released Ride the Lightning, which featured songs such as Fade to Black that dared to have acoustic guitars and was a much slower, much more emotional experience.
Hardcore metal fans and they say, quote, Metallica sold out. What's your response to something like that?
I think you could do it on the TV here. Yeah, we're not too worried about them. We do what we want to do, you know. If they consider that selling out, then whatever. There's a lot of people think you sold out just because you're on a major label and are very popular. Or maybe you don't play 1,000 miles an hour the whole time, or, you know. I mean, we'd be doing the same thing if we were still on, you know, independent label.
I personally can't wrap my head around anyone who would have seen Metallica perform songs such as Seek and Destroy or The Four Horsemen live and then turn around and call them posers or sellouts because some of their songs have an emotional and more mellow melody and sound. It's this gatekeeping that is harming the community and destroying it. It's the main reason why rock and metal have mostly disappeared from mainstream music, and we honestly deserve it when 50 or 60-year-old bands keep receiving music awards every year for playing the same music, while new bands and singers get sidelined, ignored, or insulted for trying to change the genre, be it in terms of sound or values. The metal community has forgotten that metal used to be a genre that was constantly evolving and changing, and this counts for most other rock genres as well. They're just stuck in a cycle of doing the same thing over and over. I mean, just look at most heavy metal festivals and the bands headlining them. Most of them are ancient as hell, long past their prime, with people only wanting to see them due to nostalgia. Metallica will always be one of the most legendary and iconic bands because they created a sound that had never been heard before. They made metal faster, heavier, louder, thrashier, and much more raw. It's crazy watching live footage of Metallica from the 80s when these guys were still kids and teenagers, hammering away on their guitars like wild metal demons, putting even more experienced musicians at the time to shame. I mean, James literally still had a face full of acne, and I doubt anyone at the time ever thought that these guys would end up being one of the heaviest and most influential bands in metal history. Metallica will forever be the masters of heavy metal puppets.